Welcome everybody. So we're actually here with a new Pokemon. Sorry if you were if you saw a notification like, oh crap, new dude's uploading. It's just like every upload of a changed ability. Sorry if that disappointed you, but we are here with Claydol, and I'm super hype. I fucking love Claydol. Cool ass Pokemon. I have a plushie sitting underneath my desk right now, literally. Not underneath my desk, but underneath my monitor. Super sick buffs here. So I'm actually going to start trying to summarize them very quickly within the first couple minutes for people who are just like goldfish attention span and just want to hear like the very quick summary. What I will say is if you are new here or you just want a quick summary, I would also recommend just checking out the description down below and looking at everything for yourself. That'll be a lot quicker than listening to me explain it. There is a very detailed guide for what these new abilities do, for all of these new moves and all the new buffs, because basically every move is buffed or changed. So you can check out all that down below in the description. There is a very detailed guide for everything. That being said, Claydol, super sick changes here. I'm sorry, I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm excited. So it's also been a while. Energy Shield is a huge buff, as well as a massive HP buff and a massive special attack buff. That's all great. Okay, so what Energy Shield does, it is essentially multi-scale. Okay, so 80, 105, 120 bulk with multi-scale. That's basically what it is. All right, and that's incredibly tanky. It can take so many even powerful super effective hits from full HP, of course. You also have Set Amend for reliable recovery. Set Amend is a rock type recover or ground type recover, doesn't matter. And that will also heal you 2/3 into sand, which is cool, but mostly it's just rock type recover, okay? So you can use that in conjunction with Energy Shield to get your Energy Shield back, and you can use Energy Shield for a lot of things. You can use it for utility, you can use it for offensive stuff, like for example, Rock Polish, Weakness Policy. Energy Shield is huge. I mean that's really great. Rock Polish, Energy Shield, to get that accuracy boost as well. Then you can also use inaccurate moves such as Mud Bomb and Psy Strike, and Focus Blast and all that other stuff, which is all great. You could run those three moves. It's like perfect coverage already. Just Focus Blast, Psy Strike, Mud Bomb. Those are all like 90 to 85% accurate moves, and then you get that accuracy boost from Rock Polish, and then you get a +2 special attack from Weakness Policy, and you have a lot of weaknesses. You do have 6 weaknesses, which is why I chose to give them Energy Shield, and also a much better HP stat of base 80, which is a very good, that's above average HP stat, or at least, I would say above average. I'd say average like 70, 75 personally, because HP works differently than other stats. It's like 80 is a good HP stat, okay? So yeah, I'm just really fucking happy with these changes. I went through a lot of renditions of them. I actually initially had them planned to have Tinted Lens because number one, it's one of my favorite abilities, and number two, it fits really well looking at them, and it's just a great offensive tool. However, I realized that they have so much coverage that like they don't need it. Like their dual stab's already good, and then they have so much coverage, it's kind of a waste almost. Not that Tinted Lens would be bad on them, but I prefer Energy Shield. I think it's really cool also to have defensive stuff and to have bulky ass Pokemon, which are very much needed in a hack like this where power levels are so high. To have this Energy Shield 80, 105, 120 bulk Pokemon is great, okay? You can switch it on all kinds of stuff. So that's awesome, right? You have other great utility moves, so you have stuff like Pain Split to heal as well. If you deleted Set Amend, and you really need healing, you can run Pain Split, or you can run Giga Drain, or Rest. That's also fine. And then you have tons of great coverage, so they already got weird-ass coverage moves. Also, the reason I chose to give them a high special attack stat, by the way, is because if you read the dex, it talks about how they shoot beams and blah 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 blah. I just look at it fires beams from both arms. Also, the reason I chose for Energy Shield, it says when the rain starts to fall, it wraps its whole body up with its psychic powers to protect itself. It's an enigma from a Claydol. Claydol's fucking cool, dude. Like, he's such a fucking creepy, weird, alien-ass Pokemon. I love Pokemon like that. He's just so interesting, like the kind of Starmie vibes, but even cooler. It sucks that it was kind of bad. I think it was okay, and I think it was good. It was very good in Gen 3 actually, but then after that, like in competitive wise, obviously in game it's fine. Although in game it's kind of shitty because it evolves super late, and like it doesn't get good level up moves in game normally, so it's pretty shit. But anyways, yeah, I did keep their good 75 base speed, which is very nice for stuff like Scarf or Rock Polish sets. You also have Rapid Spin to boost your speed if you wanted to use that. And then, of course, you have Priority Dual Stab with Influx and Mud Shot, which is great. Again, Energy Shield, Beacon Policy is huge. You can use Energy Shield plus, the Infinite Use Eject button, plus healing moves for utility. You do have stuff like Trick Room, which is really cool for utility, like the team support stuff. Of course, you have Hazards, which is not that good in game. People are always like, oh my god, Hazards, but in game, the only time you're ever using entry hazards is for breaking like focus sashes and multi-scale and stuff. So like for example, if the opponent has like a setup sweeper with a focus sash, or you know, a multi-scale Pokemon, then you would use that, or you know, a sturdy Pokemon or something. Then you would use rocks to break that. But that's literally the only reason you ever use it, I would say. It's not that great. Oh, you could use like a whirlwind spam team with like rocks, because those are priority moves now. They have 3 PP each. So like you could do that. But the point is though, it's very situational. Okay, hazards are not that good, but it's still good to have. Again, incredible coverage moves. You have, so they already learned weird moves. So they already got weird shit like Ice Beam and Charge Beam and Dazzling Gleam and all kinds of cool shit. And of course their dual stab is great. So I just kind of expanded on that, and they have really cool stuff. And that's what they have. You know, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Aura Sphere, Psychic, Shadow Ball, Mystical Fire, Thunder, Focus Blast, Energy Ball, Flash Cannon. All these moves are buffed or changed. Again, I implore you to check those out in the description down below. There is a very detailed guide to everything, so please give that a look if you haven't already. You're always gonna miss little things, little buffs, little changes, because there's just so many of them. Even I do sometimes. So if I do that, then definitely other people will. So yeah. Other good utilities, so stuff like Strange Impulse. Strange Impulse lowers special attack by 2. That's great. You have stuff like Cosmic Power, which is great with Energy Shield. Also, Nasty Plot and Calm Mind is great with Energy Shield, as well as buffed Stored Power. Stored Power gives you a +1 special attack boost each time you click it, which is insane. However, it only has 3 PP. You know, just as a balancing measure. You have Land's Wrath and Psycho Boost, which are great, powerful stab options that are both 150 base power moves that lower your special attack stat by 2 after you use them. So those are huge. Ancient Force is a signature exclusive move that only specific Pokemon are getting. Stuff like Claydol, stuff like I honestly I could give it to the fossils, because it would be okay on like Amistar, Cradily, and Aurorus. Those are the only special fossils now. So I mean, it would be okay on them, but I don't know. It feels kind of weird. Because like the reason I like it is because the plates they're kind of like these weird primal Pokemon, you know, like Claydol, Sigilif, Unknown, Probopass. Those kinds of Pokemon are like weird fuckers, you know. I think Ancient Force fits them really well. And what that is that is a 1-time base power move that becomes any type in the game, as long as you hold a plate. It's from Judgment. Okay, so that's incredible. You know, Claydol gets any coverage move. You can also use that for stab if you wanted. That with the plate boost, it is 132 base power, 1122. Yeah. 132 base power roughly, which is huge for no drawbacks. However, that is taking up your held item slot, so it's not as great as you might initially assume, but it's still a great option nonetheless. So that's huge and very, very fun. And that's great for coverage, of course, if you needed a specific coverage move or something. What else is there? They do get other good utility stuff, like I already covered Sediment, but they also get, you know, little stuff like for early game, like Psychic Terrain with Energy Shield. The point is, Energy Shield just lets it get off so many things that you need, from utility moves to setup moves to just getting an attack off easier. All of that stuff is great. Oh, you also have Mesmerize, which is a 100% accurate sleeping move. Sleep is reworked in this hack to always last for 2 turns. So if you outspeed the opponent, you get 1 full turn, and then you get that second turn where they're supposed to wake up. If you're slower, they hit you first, then you get 2 full turns of sleep, guaranteed. So either way, it's a very good tool. Obviously, with Energy Shield, you can get off that Mesmerize a lot easier, although you do still have to be wary of Taunt and other stuff, which is very prevalent in this hack. But yeah, it's just so cool. Again, you still have Levitate as an option, purely because I don't want to remove that. Like, dude, you guys have no idea how much I wanted to give it Tinted Lens and Energy Shield and say fuck Levitate. But removing Levitate from a non-flying type that already had Levitate, like, that's really, really cursed in my opinion. Like, just to have that option is nice. In this hack, you do have access to Anthony's ability capsule. So yes, while Energy Shield is a great defensive and offensive tool, Levitate is still very useful. Levitate can be taken advantage of in a lot of ways. Yes, you are very tanky and you aren't weak to ground or anything, but with the high power levels of this hack, you know, switching in on a fucking Earthquake or a Land's Wrath or a Precipice Blades or a Drill Run or any of these powerful moves, it's still really nice to take 0 damage from that, okay? That will always be useful. And so just use that ability capsule when you need it. Otherwise, you're running Energy Shield about 90% of the time, 80% of the time. So yeah, sadly, no Tinted Lens. I love that ability, but yeah, they don't really need it at all. Ground Psychic already has very good dual step coverage. It hits a lot of things good, not to mention all those coverage moves. So yeah, great offensive tool. Again, that speed set is pretty damn good as well for a bulky Pokemon like this. I wanted to keep it. I think it's really cool that, you know, they spin around and shit, so I think having a good speed set is fine. They are 550 base set total. Stuff like Tentacruel is also 550, despite being a stage 2 Pokemon. Even shit like Camera Up was 575. So honestly, I can do whatever the fuck I want with these base stat totals as long as I'm relatively consistent with it. And I think that it fits their design, and I think that these Pokemon were super overlooked, and so I think they deserve the good base stat total, and just the big buffs here overall. So yeah, super awesome here. Voltoy is also great at level 35. You know, you can run a Violet for a couple levels. It's great for Olivia. It's also pretty fast and pretty damn strong and pretty tanky, so that's awesome. Yeah, damn, did I cover everything that quickly? I mean, I could cover every little thing. Like, you know, oh yeah, I already covered priority, but you know, you can run, you know, Simple Beam for totems, which is great because that gives them simple, so you can use that plus stat dropping moves, which all Pokemon get. You know, Simple Beam Parting Shot on a Pokemon, Simple Beam Charm, Simple Beam Different, whatever the fuck you want to do, all kinds of stuff. That doubles the stat drops, which is pretty cool for totems. Heal Block is very good because it will always priority, and it always lasts for 15 turns now, so that's basically forever for in-game purposes. So that's awesome because you can like shut down a Pokemon that's using stuff like Giga Drain or Leech Life or Siphon or Draining Kiss or any of those moves, Parabolic Charge, etc. Or also just regular healing moves like Roost or whatever. So, you know, shutting those down is always nice as well. Make sure I'm recording. I am, okay. So, yeah, I don't know, there's not too much else to say. The Mesmerize is huge. That sleeping move is insane. You can also use that just to get off setup moves. Energy Shield, Nasty Plot, plus Influx and Mudshot is great. If you want to use that, you know, then you get plus special attack in one turn, and then you can use that in conjunction with Influx and Mudshot. You can also use Energy Shield plus Lock On. Z Lock On will give you plus 2 special attack, which is really nice, and you can use that in conjunction with something like Psy Strike or Mud Bomb the next turn to never miss it. Obviously, it's only for one turn. That's not the main draw of using Z Lock On, but it's still pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I think I got everything covered, honestly. Again, all these moves are buffed or changed, so, you know, Mud Bomb is super strong. Earth Power is a great, reliable stab move. Mud Bomb is also great because it lowers speed as well, so that's really nice because you do 75 base speed, you can actually outspeed stuff really nicely after that speed drop. Yeah, I think I got everything covered, honestly. Sediment is a staple for sure because you need that healing for Energy Shield. You don't need it, but unless you're running like a setup bullshit thing with like Rock Polish Weakness Policy, which is again really, really strong. Trainers will definitely use that on you for sure. But yeah, I really like the way Energy Shield turned out. I like it because they have pretty common weaknesses to Water, Grass, Ice, Bug, Ghost, and Dark. And then they don't even have that immunity to Ground unless you're running Levitate, which is still good. And then of course you're immune to Electric and get 4 good resistances. But yeah, awesome Pokemon. Love Claydol. Hopefully this gives Claydol some much needed exposure because it's just fucking cool. It's just a cool Pokemon. Hopefully you guys, if you never really thought about Claydol once or twice, you know, hopefully you can actually appreciate how cool its design is now. Yeah, I'll leave it off there. I want to try to make these videos a little bit shorter. So thank you very much for listening, everybody. Again, check out the description down below. There is a much more detailed guide to all of these moves and stuff in the description. So check that out. Thank you very much, and goodbye.